Good afternoon, people of the art, and welcome to this event, first live event in the group, which is an art class dedicated to Frida Kahlo, one of my favorite artists ever. Before I start, and I hope that some of you will join me live, I would like to see if I am really live or not. So I'm checking on my smartphone if I am live. Yes, it seems I am. So if you want to comment, and I see that there are subtitles too. This is amazing, really. I'm so happy. This is quite an experiment, my friends. It's the first time for me. Okay, so just remind that if you want to comment live, I can see the name of the one who comments if you don't allow StreamYard to know your identity. So please go and click the StreamYard permission, and so you will be able to comment. But anyway, I will be able to read in real time the comments and see what are you telling me. So this tea time is really an event dedicated to tea and to art. So today, since I'm dealing with Frida Kahlo, I decided to prepare tea, not really tea, but a sort of, well, tisana, let's name this in Italian, with ginger and lemon. So this is quite a tropical flavor, and very, very passionate flavors. And this is in my cup. Please stay comfortable and come with me along this experience so that we can learn something new about Frida Kahlo. We will travel to Mexico, okay? So everything seems to be working on the Facebook group, so I think you will be able to see our votes and see the replay if you don't catch me live. Let me share my screen because I prepared a wonderful presentation and I want to be just an icon because I want to share my presentation. And that's it. Okay. You will maybe think that I am quite crazy because I start showing you some of the items that you can really find everywhere in internet. These are all merchandising related to Frida Kahlo. And I have to say that I'm going mad for that month. So we have a pillow and the doll and the journal and whatever is brandable with Frida Kahlo because she is so powerful with her image that you really and she is so captivating that you are really, really connected immediately to the strength of her personality. And this is one of the main points that you will see. It will be a constant thread all across our art class of today. But Frida is today an icon. Today is recognized as one of the most important female artists, okay, in the 19th century. And it's reasonable because she is unique. We will never have another Frida Kahlo because her life was so particular that, of course, her life was able to condition and shape her unique way to make art. But we can't stop at these objects. We should look uh, beyond, and that's what we are going to do now. I don't know if you have ever been able to see Frida as a small child, and she is quite a sweet girl. Huh? I found this interesting portrait. Her father was a photographer, so we should say that she lived surrounded by an artistic or at least non conventional family where the role of the mother and the father were quite similar, so where there were not so unbalancing roles between mom and dad. And her connection to her dad was particularly strong. She grew up in a big house, as you can imagine, where a large family live. And today, this house is known as the Casa Azul, that means the Blue House. And today, the Blue House hosts the National Museum of Frida Kahlo, um, situated in Mexico City. So she was born and grown up in Mexico City, the capital of the Mexico, a very crowded and multicultural metropolis. Okay, so she was able to know a lot of people, and of course, she was far away from the countryside. And she's quite sweet with that ribbon on her head. You don't figure out it at the beginning that she could be quite a conventional girl in the first stages of her life. She had two sisters and a brother, and she was quite unlucky with her health from the childhood because she contracted polio at the age of 6, and this determined quite a bad development of the muscles of the legs and the bones as well. So that one of her legs was very, very thin with respect to the other one. And what to do to hide that physical disability? Of course, wearing long skirts. And now we understand the main reason why Frida used to wear those long and colored skirts for all her life to hide the consequences of this serious disease, of course. Her father particularly helped her to do some rehabilitation after the polio, and of course, she practiced a lot of sports. So she was not the typical girl, okay, cooking and sewing at home. The strong relationship that she had with her father allowed her to practice sports that were extended to the girls, but you could not relate immediately to the girls. So, like football and whatever comes to your mind. Okay. But what happens when she's a teenager? She's just 18 years old, and she has a sort of love affair with a good boy, a rich boy that was going to become a doctor in his future. And so they were quite not engaged, maybe, but on a good way to be engaged. His name was Alessandro, and he was a school friend of her, and they were mates in a political association. We will be able to see that Frida developed during her life a very, very deep interest for politics. And this interest has the roots in her activity, okay, during the school. They were traveling all together, she and Alejandro, on a bus, and she was carrying some gold dust. I don't know the purpose of that gold dust, but I will tell you how I knew. And at a certain time during the way, the bus they were traveling on collided with a streetcar, and a result of the collision, the bus entered the streetcar, and the pail of steel and rail went into Frida's chest, not in the upper side, of course, here in the lungs, but in the abdomen. And this pain came through her abdomen from side to side. Imagine how hurtful, okay? How um, I'm speechless if I think about the sufferings that she had to face. From that moment, her life will never be the same, okay? I was able to find this pencil drawing of the accident, and the date that is written on this drawing is 17 September 1926, 25. Okay, Frida Kahlo, the signature, and then accidente, that means accident, okay, in Espanol, in Spanish. And we see the corpses here and the dynamics, okay, of the bus um, going through. And we see her on lying on the bed in the hospital. And she had fractures in her spine, and we will see that this leaves um, visual memories all across her artistic production, and also the pelvis, and we will see also the consequences of this accident as well, connected to her motherhood, because she will never be able to give birth to children. She was just 18, and she stayed in hospital for so long. Okay, so she had 6 months when she was 6 because of the polio, and then again in the hospital for so long time. And imagine that you can just lay down and look to the ceiling, and what would you do to spend your day and night and day and night when the time seems that doesn't want to run away. Her parents arranged a particular easel, with a system of um, balancing threads or something like this. And she was able to look at the easel and paint. They gave her some brushes and boxes of paints. The painting was not a choice. She was going to attend the Academy of Art anyway, I have to say, and she had already met once Diego Rivera when she was attending maybe the introductory courses to this academy. Um, but the real connection between Frida and the painting starts here, okay? During the time spent in bed after the accident, and the first thought that she had that maybe was to portray herself, to give that first portrait to the person that she loved the most, and was Alejandro. This is the first self-portrait of Frida Kahlo. She gave it to Alejandro. Okay, she took a little time to be completed. Okay, and she, of course, when she got home, she continued painting. She didn't stop anymore. And you see a classical pose and a very interesting use of colors, because you see this dark magenta, almost a crimson, contrasting with a paint gray background. And I love a lot the softness of the skin tones that there is on the face. If you are able to look from near at this painting, I saw it in real life. This is amazing. Um, you will see many other self-portraits in the following slides, but I think that this one has a particular flavor, the flavor of the news, the flavor of the discovery of an attitude that she may have, but she didn't know. Okay. Alejandro and Frida split up very soon. He was destined to marry someone else, maybe another girl who was more lucky than her. And so she had to find her way to stay alive and find her purpose to live again. And that's the moment to introduce the second personality of this love affair, Diego Rivera, a great painter, great muralist, a great intellectual, a great political figure in the Mexican culture of the 19th century. They met again while he was painting a big mural in the school where Frida was taking her art classes, and he just went straight to him. If you see the movie Frida, starring Salma Hayek, this scene is very clear and very well reproduced. You'll see Frida that goes straight to Diego and says, "Okay, I want you to follow me, and I want you to show my paintings because I want your opinion." And so he's just stays there and say, "That's okay, let's do it, girl." And the legend says that while Frida was talking to another girl attending the art school, uh, she used to say that he was the man that she was going to marry. So maybe she was very attracted to him. Maybe not physically, because we see that they are quite an unusual couple under the physical point of view. She was tiny and pretty thin, and he was very, no, I wouldn't say fat, but has got big physical presence, no? And they met each other again in 1928, so 6 years later, um, the first meeting that they had. He was he her first supporter. So I think that the personal love affair came just after the artistic union between them. They got married 1 year later, so it was quite a fast decision. And then Diego was commissioned of doing some murals in the United States, and of course, she went with him as a wife. And imagine that Diego, of course, is very busy during the days, and she used to stay at home because she was not a celebrity yet. Okay, her fame was growing, her painting experience was growing, of course, and I think she explored a lot of artistic currents of that time, as we will be able to see in 1 minute. But at the same time, I think that she could be, and she could feel quite frustrated because, of course, she had to wait for Diego to come back home. She didn't have so much power and much influence on him while he was very busy painting for politicians and for very influencing people of that time. But one thing is sure, that she was able to meet the American culture and make her own valuation and have an opinion about the American culture. This is one of the most interesting paintings of those years spent in America, and she represents Frida um, on the borders of the two nations, because one foot is in Mexico and the other one is in America. And you see how different is the landscape of Mexico compared to the American one, because in the Mexican side, on the left, you will see the Maya pyramid and the moon and sun, so the sort of calling the memory of the Mexican gods. And then we have the skulls, so everything connected with the cultures of and the Dia de los Muertos and the pre-Columbian cultures, no Maya, Aztec, Incas, and you see a lot of flowers coming from the soil and growing, so a strong presence of natural elements. And of course, she is carrying a small Mexican flag, and we will see that this is quite symbolic, a recurring symbol in her paintings when she wants to stress out her Mexican origin. And on the right side, we find the opposite. So, a culture which is centered on electricity, on pollution, on smog, and the flag of the US is hidden behind the fog coming from the chimneys. So everything is steel, everything is pipes, everything is modern, but no nature, no life. And this is quite interesting because her position is, of course, very critical, okay, concerning the US. She doesn't stop there, and in 1933, Rivera was commissioned of a big mural in the Rockefeller Center in New York City, and she offers her own vision of the American culture going further because now we see just symbols in this painting, which is titled "My Dress Ends There." Okay, we will see that the Mexican dresses are used by Frida not only to dress herself and represent herself as a Mexican woman. That was something that she wanted to stress out anytime, but also to represent the Mexican culture and the predominance of Mexican culture above the American one. So we have a sort of Greek temple, and then again the New York City with the Statue of Freedom, and then the Hudson River, maybe. Many kitschy and quite chaotic setting of the background, but and also a toilet. Okay, and well, I won't comment on the toilet because it's quite clear the meaning of the toilet, but the dress is there, is still in a central position in the composition of the painting. So you see that the only thing that seems to be not involved in chaos and revolution is that dress. So it's her Mexican origin who firmly stays still. They come back home, of course, and we will see what happens. But before going ahead with Diego and Frida coming back to Mexico, we have to dig deeper a little bit in their personal life. From 1930 to 1934, so when she still was in the US, Frida and Diego tried to have a child, and she was able to get pregnant, but at the same time, she had miscarriages. Three. And I don't have to say that much about the trauma that a woman can live when she loses her baby and when she feels like that she can give life. Okay, she can't create life as any other woman because that was what Frida Kahlo thought. And in many paintings, she used to portray herself on a bed, on a hospital bed. You see very essential furniture. This particular painting is called Henry Ford Hospital because she recalls the one of the hospitals that she was assisted. And you see many symbols. Some of them are quite immediate, some of them are quite mysterious. We have the baby and the body, the pelvis, so that the bones of the pelvis, to remind the broken and the ruptures of the broken bones during the accident. I don't know what this is, but it must be something connected with the surgery. We have the snail. It may have a sexual meaning as well. And we have a flower that seems to be quite an orchid, and then a lot of blood on the bed. Um, you see, this is quite a timeless and spaceless dimension, and this is quite a clear referral to surrealism. And then she is changing her style, so she is incorporating some elements of the surrealistic painters into her art. I really suggest you to go and watch some of the clocks by Salvador Dali, and you will see that there is soil and sky and a timeless and spaceless dimension as well. Let's go ahead. We have some representation of the same scene. We have another one, and here we have a clear writing considering the death of the children, el muerto, the dead. And you see these threads that are never broken because she will always feel connected with their children, which is what sad, but it's like this. I don't think that a mother can really never forget uh, the babies. It's impossible, even if she was not able to hold her in her arms, but she was a mother, always a mother. And you see the connection with the roots of the flower, like, yes, I am life, I can give life. Anyway, let's go ahead. The years they spent in the US were very rich under the political point of view, because they were able to know a lot of extraordinary people and also artists. And Leon Trotsky was one of the most important leaders of the Communist Party, and they were good friends. They also had a love affair, and this is quite a good time to underline that the relationship between Frida and Diego was not a conventional one. So they used to live together most of the time when they were in the US, but when they went back to Mexico, they lived in two different houses. They lived independently from one another, and that means that they had lovers and also other relationships as well. Leon Trotsky was a good friend and maybe something more for Frida Kahlo. And when Leon Trotsky died, she suffered a lot. This portrait was a present from Frida to Leon, okay, but the wife of Leon didn't want him to take the painting, so he had to leave the painting in Mexico, okay. And oh my God, the bad luck never ends, because let me go a little bit back. Trotsky was killed in a shot by a gun in Mexico City. So, oh my God, what a bad luck. But let's say that the years from the 1940 to 1943 are the years of a real artistic blossoming for Frida, and the portraits that she was able to paint in this period of time are the most popular, okay? The self-portraits. Let's take a look. Um, Here, I was able to see this painting from life as well, and I have to say that the representation of the lace is amazing. I don't know what dimension of paintbrush she used to achieve such a precise reproduction of the lace. And you see how Frida loves to portray herself with dress, the typical dress of the Tijuana women. And this portrait is quite interesting because it witnesses that in spite of unfaithfulness and discussions and all the things that Diego has done to her, included a love affair with Frida's sister, he was always in her mind. And in fact, indeed, the painting is named Diego on My Mind because, of course, he is positioned like in her consciousness, like a third eye personified in Diego. They divorced in 1939, but one year later they got married again and they never left. They never got divorced again. But of course, like premise, I have to underline that they used to live separate lives, and Frida has had some other people um, who played a role in their emotional life, both men and maybe also women. Okay, let's see again an interesting painting. This is called The Two Fridas and dates back to 1939, so the year that she got divorced from Diego. And many interpretations say that the Frida with the blood on her Tijuana dress, with the broken heart, okay, represents the Frida after the divorce from Diego. And she is sitting near a new version of Frida, which seems to be more strong, more stronger, more independent. I really don't know if this is just an interpretation or maybe she wanted to give this idea. We will never know. It may be. It may be. And these are the self portraits I was telling you just a little before. So, very rich in natural elements, you see, and monkeys, and the panther, and leaves. And here we have Astrelitzia, which is a typical flower of the tropical area. And this is amazing as a shape. Consider that, for example, here the necklace um, recalls the figure of Christ with the, the crown. Okay, the same symbols, and in this portrait, many intellectuals tend to see that she is torn, considering also the sufferings that Diego had caused to her. So I don't know if it's real or not. I see another interesting symbol here. The clothing in her hair makes like an horizontal eight, and this is the mathematical symbol for the infinity. Okay, and it seems to suggest that in spite of the sufferings and the divorce, the love that she felt for Diego was endless. Okay, so we really have to look under the first layers of painting and take a little time to think about the meaning of these self portraits, which are just not just self portraits. When they asked Frida why she used to paint herself most of the time, she said that she used to paint herself because she was the person that she knew better. And she also said that she was not used to paint the dreams because they say that, "Ah, okay, Frida, you maybe are a surrealist as well, like Dali, for example," and that I mentioned before. And she said, "I am not a surrealist because surrealist painters paint their dreams or nightmares, I would say. So there is a sort of subconscious level put on canvas. But she said that I paint my own reality. So what we see on canvas is not something abstract, it's real. It's just a personification of emotions. And that's why I love so much Frida and her ability to transfer, to turn into images pure emotion. But let's go ahead. This is one of the most powerful images, and this is called the broken column, recalling, of course, the bad accident that she had. And I think that she dealt with depression all along her life, and this is, of course, one of the paintings where this is more visible and more intuitive. And a broken column is placed instead of her spine, and this is broken considering that she will never be able to be as a whole because, of course, of the sufferings, both emotional and physical. Consider that she had to deal for all her life with chronic pains. So she suffered 24 hours a day with no interruption. And it was very, very hard. Okay, at a certain time, going ahead with the time, they will. She had her feet cut because of the gangrene. Let's go. Let's go ahead and see. I'm sorry for the phone if you just hear the phone rang. I say that Frida had a special friend, and his name was Nicholas Murray. He was very patient with Frida. He was a photographer, and we really know better Frida by 60 photographs that she mm, took of her. They are very famous. They are in most of them. They are in colors, so they are really bring Frida Kahlo to life with a modernity that it's fantastic. He was a photographer and he was very patient. He was so in love with her, and maybe he wanted her to leave Diego forever. And he was very patient because they were friends for almost 11 years. Uh, of course, he had to face the reality that Frida will never leave Diego, and so everything, the love affair, of course, muted and transformed into a sincere friendship. But they were in love, I think, at least for some time, and their intimacy is quite visible if you read the letters that Frida used to send to Nicholas, and always with a lipstick mark of her lips in near the signature. And these are some of the words. Nick, I love you like I would love an angel. You are a lily of the valley, my love. I will never forget you. Never, never. You are my whole life. I hope you will never forget this. So you don't write these words to a man that you don't love, no? Let's see some of these gorgeous photographs. Right? See the contrast of colors. Marie is great photographer, and He was really able to capture and to unveil the real Frida. I don't see the rocky Frida. I see a very soft version of her, a very sweet Frida, especially in this one, in the picture where she wears the purple dress. Who wouldn't want such a muse? Huh? She was incredible. But let's go ahead again and again, and let's move to the final part of Frida's life. She died that she was very young, so it won't take that much to end. And consider that the last paintings are very symbolic because here we have a sort of syncretism of religion and politics and all religions. We have Christ and we have the Indian religion. So everything is connected with the moon and the life coming from this central position of the bladder. And the name of the painting is Moses, calling, of course, the Moses like uh, the person that was able to rescue the Jews from the Pharaoh in the from Egypt. And this little kid has the third eye painted here, like he is a very clever person. So he is quite a chosen one. And you will see also the leaders of the politics here. We have Stalin, for example. So we have Buddha, a lot of things, a lot of things. This is quite an important painting, and it would deserve a lesson just for it. Again, calling back to the years of the hospital, but she is always at hospital. Consider that for a chronic pain, she has to face periods of time in the hospital, and how cruel is life. You see, this painting is called Without Hope, so hopeless. Again, no referrals to nature, no more nature for a dying freedom. Okay, but she's very strong because, in spite of sorrow and physical sufferings, she goes and she keeps on painting. And when in Mexico City they organize an exhibition just for her, she comes with her bed. Okay, her bed is taken across the streets of Mexico City, and everyone is coming to celebrate her. Fantastic, fantastic memories. I will go fast in this. Again, one deer, strong symbolism as well. And then we approach to the final paintings of Frida, so dating after 1950. As I was saying just a few minutes before, she was diagnosed with gangrene in her right foot, and she underwent several surgeries, but she continued to work and she dedicated unexpectedly to a new type of painting, so still lives. Okay, not the usual still lives that you would imagine, but as you see, they are full of life, full of color, full of passion. And a trivial watermelon is transformed into something which has a juice, no juicy fruit that you can see. And she painted a series of these still lifes for the Prime Minister of Mexico. But again, the wife of this person did not want to bring the paintings with her because we will see, it will be clear in the next slide. There is a lot of sexual symbolism here. So we have, for example, this dates back to some years before, but the meaning is always the same. Here we have a bride. hidden behind here, like she is frightened and scared from what's going to happen in the first night. huh? So we have a symbol of the male, a symbol of the woman, okay? And here comes again with some fruits of the famous collection that I was saying just before, where the Mexico, of course, is always the protagonist of the painting, but there was so much passion and erotic meanings that I'm sorry that the commissioner did not want to display her paintings on their house. And this is the very last painting of Frida, and you can see the Viva la Vida. It was her motto, and it should be our motto too, because we are lucky to be alive. In any case, Frida was an example for all of us, and she was able to use all the talents she had. She was so talented, and she was able to use her abilities and possibilities for all her life. She didn't waste a single day. That's the main lesson that we can take from Frida. Okay, apart from the art, apart from the colors, apart from the gossip. Okay, because I did a lot of gossip in this lesson, but let's take the passion. We want to bite life as Frida did. Life is juice, is pure juice. We want to taste it, we want to savor it. And now it's time for me to say goodbye in a few moments, but I want to leave you with a small homework. Of course, you are here in this creative hub, and I would like you to experiment some techniques with me after each class that I'm delivering monthly. Okay. Um, this prompt is quite unusual, but it's based on the fact that we want to stress out the unicity of Frida. And what is more unique than a thumbprint? Okay. In this case, I would like to couple the idea of our unique hands with some words that can represent each of you. And so, the little prompt that I would like you to make along this along our creative journey, that it's just at the beginning, because the group is still at the beginning, and I really would love you to invite a lot of people to get the benefits from the creative path that I want to build inside here, inside this community. uh, just draw a line and a contour line of your hand on a piece of paper, on your journal, whatever you want, okay? Use a pencil, use a fine liner, a black fine liner, because you get the contrast. And then you can fill the drawing, okay, the area, with some words that represent you. If you are able to do some lettering, you are good at you, uh, you have a good writing. You, of course, you can write very good, okay, using markers, using a lot of various effects. If you are not able to, that's okay. Add your words, okay, the words that represent you, which is your truth, which is your authenticity. What makes you feel like you? What is Elisa? What is important for Elisa? I will do the same, of course. I have already my page in the bullet journal, which is ready. Okay, you can add symbols as well, small drawings. Okay, that's perfectly fine. And I will repurpose this prompt in a separate post in the group, so that everyone can really add the picture of the results. Let's get to know each other better. Let's collaborate. Let's create. You are here for this purpose. Otherwise, this creative hub will be a simple group among 1,000 group of Facebook, and I would love to give you something more, something different. Okay, this is my final. So I have talked for 50 minutes. Okay, it's a long talk. I didn't have comments. At least I'm not able to to see the comments. I don't know why. But I think that it's done. So I will see you again in June. We will have another important artist that is Amelia Modigliani, say known as Modi, and we will fly from Mexico to Paris, to France. Living a completely different atmosphere, living a completely different story, but this is amazing. You will fall in love with the long necks of Amelia Modigliani. Please share the Facebook link of this group with everyone else and comment. Let me know if you are watching the replay with the hashtag replay. And for now, it's all. Bye bye and have a great evening. See you soon. Bye.